One of the strangest things in Rise of Kingdom is how many players damage their account progression where technically become stronger. Minamoto creates this trap where raw power hides strategic inefficiency. The scary part is the accounts feels amazing initially. I I ordinarily thought I was thinking Minamoto was just a simple overpowered cavalry hero too until I started watching how differently disciplined players use him compared to emotional players. And this is going to be the topic for today is going to be Minamoto and my personal experience with this hero and what I saw. Let's start why players become addicted to him. Let's start with this because this hero is not actually free to play player hero. This is a hero that you have to first of all buy something. I think the moment you buy something, you actually get him, and from there, the only place you can level up your Minamoto is when you click over the skill and you try to get more sculptures. You're going to see that you basically have to purchase this hero. The only way to awake this hero is by purchasing the heroes from the VIP shop. So not only you have to buy this hero, but at the same time you have to have the VIP level to buy all the shards of this hero. I'm level 7 and there is like 3 more levels. I actually don't know. Okay, I'm level 7, 8, 9. Okay, 2 more levels and I'm going to be able to fully buy Minamoto. That's why he's actually a hero that you have to buy from the game, which from one point I understand the people and the community by looking over some hero that is easy to get. Majority of the players think this hero is not that good, but if the scarcity is there, if the hero is hard to be get, if you have to buy this hero, on top of that, not just buying the bundles of this hero, but you have to level up your VIP also to have access to all the shards of these heroes, it creates this strange people think this god among the humans hero, something like this. I see this thing over and over. It's not only about Minamoto. Now, and I think this is why players become addicted to him, just because they actually spend over him. But this is not the only reason. Early damage creates false confidence. Minamoto is one of the first commanders that teaches players the wrong lesson about the combat. And what Minamoto is actually doing, if you see, he's just doing 1.4k direct damage factor. He's doing also additional damage, 600. It's having like 50% chance to do this additional damage. Deals direct damage, the skill has 50% chance to do additional damage to the target every second for the next 2 seconds. Every second for the next 2 seconds. So you see that the damage of Minamoto is looking crazy on paper. Huge burst damage emotionally rewards aggression before the players understand the traits equality. What is the traits equality? I can give you another hero that is also cavalry 1 that is also doing 1.4k. This is Chow Chow. And to be fair, Chow Chow attack reduction 40%. It's crazy. It's crazy. On top of that, Chow Chow is going to fire up before Minamoto. Minamoto. The reason behind this, Chow Chow is having this rage accumulation speed engine. So he's going to gather the needed rage before Minamoto. Hitting before Minamoto is going to reduce the output of his damage. So you start seeing the connection here. I'm actually new in Rise of Kingdom. I want to point this thing. I'm not some old player in this game, specifically in this game, but I have experienced years playing kingdom building games, and I just started playing Rise of Kingdom, and this is the first impressions I'm getting from these heroes. Let me know your personal opinion in the comments below. Here we're building our small community where we dissect each hero so we can become better and better in our performance on the battlefield at the end of the day. So yeah, this is the first false, I think, wrong lessons about the combat that Minamoto is actually teaching. Huge burst damage emotionally rewards aggression before the players understand the right equality. We talk about that. And what fascinated me was how many accounts started focusing, fighting simply because of the hero made them feel invisible. And this is something that is with Minamoto. Now, I can say Minamoto is also having the skill tower tree. This commander is still dealing damage by using active skill. What this means, he is going to do more damage. This commander troops deal 3% more skill damage. This commander troop launches any type of basic attack is going to get 9 rage, which is like 1%, 0.9%, let's say it like this. Here we have this commander troops deals like 6% more skill damage of all types, but also takes 6% more. This is something like naked rage, basically naked rage. So you see that this one is boosting more about the hero skill damage. On top of that, Minamoto, the build that I research and I go in deep, looking what is going to help me, which skill do I actually need this hero fully awakened, and etc. For me, the best build for Minamoto is going to be 5-5-1-1. The reason behind is, first of all, you can walk a skills. What this is supposed to mean, you can basically using this walk a skill. Now, I walked the first and the second one. Before that was just the first one walked. But right now, I want to make this Trough of Kuramadera level 5. I don't need this 50% damage against barbarians because I'm going to focus this hero over PvP, and yeah, barbarian is PvE. From there, if I go for the third and fourth skill, there is a 50% chance I actually get the barbarian one or Master of Kendo and not exactly Warlord. That's why I decide to go with 5-5 for this hero. 5-5-1-1, still need level to open this one and stars, but this is the best build for Minamoto, just to say, okay? The dangerous thing about early dominance is that it quietly removes strategic discipline, and this is so true in the kingdom building games. I mean, if you this has actually happened to me in one game where I get the hero was that strong, I built my legion, this legion was dominating, and I didn't force myself how to counter my legion, how to be efficient and all these things, just because I was spender. As you can see right now, I'm also spender in Rise of Kingdom. I'm also spending money here, getting Chow dailies and Minamoto, and I was that powerful that my legion was actually doing pretty decent amount of damage. But at one point we get some server merges, we get some KVKs, and I start facing players who, one was very strong, very powerful, and second, they was having very strong legions like mine. So I'm facing with my raw power against other raw power, but with strategic listening, strategic mind behind, and I start losing. And from this point, I start actually, getting more in deep with the heroes and see, okay, what we can improve here, what we cannot improve, where is best this hero, and etc. Because it's actually dangerous. I mean, the early damage is just create this false confidence, and it don't have this evolutional pressure from you to become more efficient. Because the people who you attack with your strong legion, they're going to become efficient. They're going to be, okay, he actually strike me, I lose, but how much I lose? Okay, how can I make the next time he strike me, I lose 2 times less troops? How I can make something in this direction to beat his legion, even if I have to involve 2 or 3 legions. You start, thinking over how you can beat these strong players at the beginning, but the strong players never have this evolutional pressure over thinking how they can improve. And this is actually the early damage create this false confidence in the players. Now, why Konchanhuru feels so unfair? This is basically the spell of Minamoto. The damage isn't the real problem. Most players only notice the 1.4k damage factor immediately. This is something that I notice, not gonna lie. But what players don't realize is how psychologically oppressive repeated procs damage become during the early kingdoms. Now, if I go out and maybe I strike, I think I can defeat level 8 Legion. I'm going to create, this time, I'm going to use Minamoto as a commander, and I'm going to use Cao Cao as a deputy. Maybe only because I'm going to try to see the full damage of Minamoto. That's why I put him as commander. The peacekeeping tower tree is on Cao Cao. So I'm going to even lose like 10 points right here. See, this is the damage. This is level 8. Oh my god. Okay, let's go over this guy. Did I just destroy this guy without even he understand what is happening? Okay, we're fighting. 422, brother. Here, so you see the damage, 1.1k is just crazy amount of damage. How this hero did that much damage, by the way, brother. If I do the same with Cao Cao, it's just the results are different. But you can see the dopamine hits when you see these red numbers. Even I killed the enemy before even Cao Cao managed to fire up his spell, which is absolutely crazy amount of damage. Now sometimes the extra damage triggers and the target simply disappear before the player can even react emotionally, before you even see the numbers, which make me think, can I actually kill level 10? Now so far I was not be able to kill them. I'm going to put Minamoto and it's going to be this guy. Okay, let's go and see how the things will go against level 10. Level 10 should be one idea more stronger. Now I know some people who is endgame players are going to be, Burgas, what are you doing, brother? Why are you fighting against those barbarians? I mean, level 10. And here comes the damage. 1.3, but we didn't actually get a second hit. If I get second hit, this is like 1.1k in extra at the end of the day, which, is making these dopamine hits immediately. The strange part is that RNG burst creates strong emotional memories, that consistent efficiency. This is in everything in life, to be fair. I mean, I may sound like some kind of teacher or something like this, but the biggest memory at least I have is about something that is extremely rare that is going to happen. And when it happened, it actually is something big. And this is what is happening with Minamoto. I mean, you're going to remember how this bad boy actually touched the target and get this proc, this 50% proc, and the target disappear. Because it's actually 1.2k. This is like double damage. This is like a critical right there. So, you're going to remember this thing. And I think this is making his main spell feel so unfair. Okay, so unfair because it creates these emotional memories, and in same time this is not something that you're going to receive always when you go outside and fight. You're not going to always get the 50% chance to do the additional damage. It's not 100%. This is just a burst that you just receive right there. And it strongly depends what you're actually fighting against, what you're hitting. Imagine if you hit tier 1, but at the same time right now you're facing tier 4, but you have the memory of the tier 1, how you basically broke the legs of the tier 1 legion. So all these things is very tricky in general in the gameplay. The other thing is the false signal of pay to win power. Yeah. Players start copying the wrong behavior. One of the dangerous things about Minamoto is that he creates well psychology extremely early. Even I having Minamoto, I have this psychology that nobody's going to touch me. It's something that actually happened. I'm not gonna lie. Nobody actually struck me, but I was sitting not under a last territory. I also see some, some players from the. Okay, did they get luck right now? Some enemy players who is having a lot of power. I saw them, and I know they're not going to strike me, even though that they may have more power from me. For example, this Master Shifu Sensei is having like close to 2 times more power. Not close, it's basically 2 times more power from me. But I have no fear that this bad boy is going to strike me because I have Minamoto. And I start developing Minamoto. I mean, this is really creating this pay to win mentality, this web psychology, especially early when you spend on the hero, especially early when you spend over the hero, and this hero is very good. Pay to win heroes, the majority of the cases are good heroes. That is even longer used heroes. And this creates this psychology, which is, sometimes it can cost you. Okay, smaller spenders start copying aggression patterns they cannot economically sustain later. This is, I think, maybe the biggest issue. I mean, it's no problem somebody to have his well mentality and feeling that strong that he can destroy everything. The problem is that the smaller spenders start copying some aggression patterns and builds that cannot economically sustain at the end of the day. The reports look incredible where healing cost, bad traits, and resource pressure quietly build quietly get builded underneath. Strong players notice this immediately. Visible dominance and efficient progression are not always the same thing. It's not always the same thing. So yeah, don't fall in this trap. Why this cavalry kit change players' behavior? Why his cavalry kits change players' behavior? And by cavalry kit is basically this one, Trail of Kuramadera, the commander cavalry kit. 3% march speed and 10% attack, reduce building construction time by 10 minutes. It can go up to 1 hour, by the way. So I'm actually go and get more skills because 1 hour is a crazy. Can I get this one? Yeah, I can get this one. Do I have more of those? Sold out. Can I get? No, I cannot get this one. Do we have this one? No, I cannot get this one. So we're going to get this here, I think, one more time. Can I skill up him one more time? Yo, brother, I will not be able to skill up him one more time. But yeah, getting like 20 minutes from the building progression is a very solid. I'm not gonna lie, but this is like 50 something days, by the way, for the people who don't know, because I may actually put a wrong impression that this is forever. Is internal reform, time remaining for 54 days. So after 54 days, this thing is going to be gone. Okay, it's not going to be there, so don't invest in these things at the end of the day. Fast cavalry gameplay creates emotional gameplay loops. This is something that I'm going to speak also in the Chow Chow in the Chow Chow video about this more heavily, but right now we're just talking about Minamoto, who still have march speed. Players start chasing every march, overextending fights, and taking unnecessary risk because mobility feels safe. Now, one of the things is this happened in for me in other games is I have that much march speed that I was thinking, nobody can catch me. Majority of the cases I actually escape, but the traits was not something crazy, okay? But the excitement and this how to say it, the excitement was crazy till the players start learning from players like me who is striking fast with their cavalry, and start playing more strategically against players like me. And at one point I was like 50% catch it, 50% escape it, but still this excitement in my head was continuing. What changed my opinion was watching how often winning cavalry players slowly exhausted their own accounts. And this is what happened: you fill your hospital and you're out of the fight. Some commanders don't destroy your account directly, they slowly encourage worse habits. And this is something like the well habit chasing or copying. When you copy somebody habit, you don't know if this habit is for you or not, and it can actually slowly encourage some habits in you. When you see somebody do something, maybe he's having a lot of merits or whatever is the kill points, he's having a lot of kill points, and slowly start influencing you to apply what he's doing, but not necessarily what he's doing is going to benefit your account at the end of the day. So I'm not going to go that much in details. I'm going to share with you something that I received like pairing now Minamoto with Chow Chow. Obviously, we already did that. This suspender, Minamoto with Yu Sen G. We don't have so far with Yu Sen G, so we're going to test Minamoto with Yu Sen G. Chow Chow is going to be with Belarus and Chow Chow. Maybe it's going to be one of the things, or Barbars and okay, here we're not having Minamoto, but Minamoto combined with Chow Chow and Yu Sen G is going to be, maybe Minamoto Yu Sen G is going to be the way I'm going to go. I hear a lot of good words over this combo, so definitely I want to actually test it. So far, this is my impressions as a person who start playing Rise of Kingdom and still have decent amount of years playing kingdom building games, playing with different heroes, building different heroes. Really hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to hit one like, also subscribe for more Rise of Kingdom videos. I wish you a great day and see you in the next video.